How y'all doing? Welcome to Three Count Commentaries. And now we're going to do AEW Revolution predictions. This is my first time ever sitting down really looking at the card, and it is bad. This is not a very good card. But whatever. So let's see. Let's go through this thing. It's either buy-in, Riho and Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker and Rebel. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Rebel is in this match, and Rebel never wrestles. So, obviously, Rebel just in this match to take the pin. Let's go into the main card. Why is Thunder Rosa and Riho partners? Oh, well, it's a buy-in match. It doesn't matter. Let's see. In the regular card, Miro and Kip Sabian versus the best friends, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. All right, Miro has been a disaster. It has been an absolute disaster, this Miro run. And look, this match, by I can't question the Booker of the Year, right? The Booker of the Year is presenting this card. But I should tell you, Booker of the Year, you probably should highlight Miro in a singles match because he's one of your bigger stars. And especially if you're talking about, well, he's going to now prove and show off how powerful he is. And, you know, the games are over. He probably should just beat these guys up by himself. You know, to be quite honest, this should be Miro versus Orange Cassidy. If you consider Orange Cassidy to be a top level star, right, then he should be wrestling Miro one-on-one. And that should be a pay-per-view match instead of, but I'm beginning to see that the pay-per-views are only so Jon Moxley can do bullshit blow-up matches and barbed wire shit, right? Because there's been a Jon Moxley does barbed wire fight scene on every pay-per-view except one where he wrestled MJF, and he was trying to do a bunch of hardcore shit in that match too. So they seem to, it's pretty smart because they focus on TV where they make the most of their money, but they are gypping people by not giving you Miro versus Orange Cassidy straight up as a one-on-one match on this card. Like, you're paying, what, $40, $50 for this show? How much is it? I didn't look at the cost. The cost isn't listed on their website. But you're paying not more than $10, let's put it like that. And this is with the exception of the main event and the ladder match, this is Dynamite level stuff right here. Because we've seen that on Dynamite, they don't mind throwing street fights and stuff like that on the show. So, but I'm complaining about the wrong thing. The point is, Miro should be wrestling Orange Cassidy, especially if Orange Cassidy is a main event guy. If you want us to believe that Orange Cassidy is a main event guy, he has to work main events against people other than Chris Jericho, right? So, Kip Sabian is, I don't know, like, he doesn't wrestle. He's not even on TV. He's never on TV. So, well, he's on TV to do this wedding program, but he's never actually wrestling, is what I should say. I should be more precise in my speech. So, I'm guessing Miro and Kip Sabian are actually going to win. I don't really care either way, because this Miro experiment has just been the shits. It's been the drizzling shits. All right, Face of the Revolution ladder match. Cody Rhodes versus Scorpio Sky versus Penta El Zero Miedo versus Lance Archer versus Max Caster versus To Be Announced. This is the number one contenders match for the TNT Championship. I could have sworn we had rankings. You know, like, I thought we had rankings, but are there rankings for the TNT title? I don't believe so. So maybe I'm wrong on this one. In any event, Scorpio Sky is never on TV. Max Caster is part of a tag team. Not likely. Scorpio Sky would probably be the guy I would choose. I've said in Dynamite reviews that Scorpio Sky should win. But since I sit here and look at it, Pentagon versus Darby Allin, that's a heat match. I'm down for that. I would definitely watch the shit out of that match. I would actually pay attention to Dynamite for that match. Even though it would just be Penta slapping his chest saying Zero Miedo in his face. I don't know why. But I like Penta. I liked him when he was in Lucha Underground. I still like him now, even though I know his shtick. You know, I know that this is shtick that he does. But I don't care. I like Pentagon. So I'm going to go with Penta. I'm going to go with Penta. Now, to be announced, I cannot believe that they're actually trying to sell you a pay-per-view without announcing the whole card, without telling you who's going to be in this match. To be announced is probably going to be another surprise entrance. They've had a surprise entrant. They've had 2 surprises per pay-per-view. Every time they do a pay-per-view, they have to have new surprises. And then the surprise lasts 2 weeks, and then they hit the dark circuit, and they just stuck there forever. Some people seem to believe that Ethan Page is coming in, or what is his name, Julian, whatever. I don't know if he owns the name Ethan Page or not. But if it's him, if he's going to be coming in, he's probably going to be in this match. So, and I expect him to be the last guy. So Ethan Page or Julian, whatever, is probably going to be the guy that's going to be put in this match. Unless it's going to be somebody, somebody else, which it entirely could possibly be. But when you have people who are spamming surprises, there's no telling. This might be somebody from Impact. This might be somebody from New Japan. It could be anybody. I don't think it matters that when they get involved in it, because I don't think they're going to win. I think that Penta is going to end up winning. But it ought to be interesting to see who it is. Let's see this: the women's championship, Hikaru Shida versus Ryo Mizunami. Ryo Mizunami, I don't think is a regular member of the roster. So I haven't seen Ryu Mizunami as All Elite yet. So I don't see any reason why Hikaru Shida would lose the title to her. And that's that's my reasoning. Look, I haven't seen Ryu Mizunami that much at all. I didn't watch the tournament because they didn't bother to put it on TV, so I didn't bother to watch it. But I trust Ryu Mizunami's training for it to not be a garbage match. I don't think that Ryu Mizunami will be absolute trash. I just think that generic Joshi is pretty much what they're going for in this match. They're not going for building up anybody. So they can cut promos and show some personality or anything like that. You have all of these people on the internet trying to sell you on Ryu Mizunami because you've never heard of her before. And she doesn't work there. And she's never been there. So you have all these people on the internet doing the heavy lifting. That's such a bizarre thing, man. Where you've got a lot, I've seen people writing articles and trying to tell you oh, you really need to go watch Ryu Mizunami matches. I'm like, I could have been watching them if they'd assigned her to a contract and then put her on TV. Then I would have been watching it. I don't understand that. Why do we have so many people on this show who are never on Dynamite? It's never on the show. That is so weird. That's an odd decision, Booker of the Year. Such an odd thing. I'm going to go with Shida because Mizunami isn't signed. Shida is having a Bruno run. She's having a Backlund run with this title. It's okay. They're doing it with NXT UK as well, where they're just going, nobody cares. Keep it on the champion. Nobody cares. But I love Shida. I just wish that they actually would put Shida in storylines. We get it. Her English is probably not that good. But put some focus on her opponents and put her in the ring with some American women, for fuck's sake. Somebody that she can, banter with and show some personality with and grow the division. Bringing random Joshis in for her to wrestle is it's cool and all if all you care about is good match. But you should be trying to grow this division, and the division grows by putting them in situations and doing different things. And we've just given up on that. The whole thing with her and Abaddon was okay, but then they had one match and it was over. So, I don't know. Whatever. Hangman Adam Page versus Big Money Matt Hardy. The loser will give away his 2021 first quarter earnings. They could have just put a straight up money amount. That's very vague. Their first quarter money amounts. You could have just said it's a $20,000 match or something like that. A $10,000 match. $100,000 match. The winner has to give the loser $100,000 or something like that, right? That would have been a lot more interesting, and I think more people would have been involved. By saying their first quarter earnings, you're kind of you're talking over some people's heads. They're kind of what does that mean, and why should I care? You could have just said the winner has to give the loser $100,000 or $200,000, $500,000, $1 million or whatever. In this type of match, usually the heel would lose. Just like in a hair versus hair match, you can almost count on the heel losing, and most of the time in those. Um, so big money match. I mean, what really does? Uh, see, this is a weird match because Adam Page is a guy that you're pushing or a guy that you're trying to protect. Matt Hardy is Matt Hardy. He doesn't gain much from winning this match. He doesn't lose that much from winning this match. So I definitely think he should probably lose it. Go ahead and put Adam Page over, and hopefully get him away from Matt Hardy, and we can do something else with Adam Page. But the Matt Hardy thing was a nice save from. I guess he was supposed to be wrestling Brody Lee here, but of course Brody Lee passed. So we ended up with Matt Hardy versus Adam Page, and okay, this is a fine situation. It could actually help, but I just whatever. Adam Page is going to win. Let's just put it like that. Okay, so straight fight, Team Taz, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin and Sting. It's showtime, folks. Let's see. Is this match going to be cinematic or live? If this match is going to be live, it ought to be interesting. If it's going to be cinematic, then it should still be kind of interesting. But so let's go. I think it's going to be cinematic. Let's put it like that, because I think that's why Sting is willing to do this, because he can, do cuts and takes and stuff like that. But we've seen that Sting can take bumps. So are we going to let Sting take bumps or not, or are we going to do it where he doesn't really have to go down, or he can go down, but he doesn't have to get slammed? Just because he took one power bomb doesn't mean he's ready to have a full match. Let's not be ridiculous here. He's 60. In this situation, because Sting is involved, I do believe that Sting and Darby Allin would win. Doesn't really hurt Brian Cage and Ricky Starks that much. It wouldn't have anyway, I should say, if they had been getting the upper hand on them up to this point. Because the last 2 weeks have been Brian Cage and Ricky Starks getting beaten up by Darby Allin and Sting, and they've been 50-50 booking it as far as contact is concerned. Instead of having it where Ricky Starks and Cage are the physical threats, it really should just be Ricky Starks. Well, I guess it's the right pair, because Ricky Starks has been feuding with Darby Allin for a long time now, and so has Brian Cage. So I guess it's the right mix. But I was about to say should be Cage and Hobbs. If we're being honest, if they really want to win, you would go with the bigger, rougher, tougher guys in a street fight. I think I would go more with Hobbs in a street fight than I would Ricky Starks. But this is going to be a showcase for Ricky Starks. Going to be a showcase for Darby Allin and Brian Cage. This ought to be great for Ricky Starks, by the way, because Ricky Starks is a guy who, again, never wrestles on TV. He cuts promos, he talks, but he almost never wrestles on TV. So this ought to be a good showcase for him. I would prefer to have him on TV more often, but it is what it is. Booker of the Year, can't question it. I definitely think Darby Allin and Sting are going to win. See, the Young Bucks will defend the AEW Tag Team Championships against the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, and MJF. MJF has been completely derailed since he was the number one contender for the world title. Everything about that situation was a flop. Everything about it. Like the build up was shit with the campaign and all that stuff. And then they started, after he lost to Jon Moxley, which of course killed his momentum, he had to pretty much rebuild himself, and then he started getting involved with the Inner Circle. Now the Inner Circle is starting to fracture because MJF is being a douche, and of course their own inside douchiness, Sammy Guevara, whatever. MJF should have had a belt by now. He really should have been the TNT champion, probably should have been the inaugural TNT champion, or should have been the one to beat Cody for it. But it's time for him to hold a title, but I don't know if the tag team titles with Chris Jericho is that spot. AEW takes tag team wrestling a lot more seriously than WWE. I will give them credit for that. And because I think they take it so far more seriously, I don't believe that the Young Bucks will drop the belts to them. I think that the Young Bucks probably will want to lose the titles to a real tag team, especially a tag team that hasn't beat up their dad. So you have to look at a situation where Jericho and MJF beat up their dad, and it would make them look like shit if they got beat up by the guys who beat up their dad. Also, this match probably should have some type of stipulation. If you gotta beat up your dad, it's okay to have some type of fight. But we'll see. I'm gonna go with Inner Circle, Jericho, and MJF. I'm gonna go with them. Even though I believe the Young Bucks are actually gonna win, I want to just take a wild decision. So I'm gonna go with Inner Circle. Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title in an exploding barbed wire death match. Okay. I saw the diagram that Kenny Omega put up on Twitter, and it looked like it was bizarre. Okay, he was drawing where the barbed wire should be and where the landmines and all that type of stuff is going to be. There's a 30-minute time limit, a 30-minute time bomb rather. I'm sorry, and everything is going to explode in 30 minutes. And I was like, so you're guaranteeing this match is going to go 30 minutes? That's pretty much what you're telling me. You're guaranteeing me that this match is going to go 30 minutes. I'm not thrilled about that. Like, I always see that, violent fights should never go a half hour. If you're going to be beating people with barbed wire and bats and shit exploding, if it goes longer than 15 to 20 minutes, you're burying every other match. Right? Because it's like, remember, like, that was the whole thing with Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega before, where people was like, hey, Jon Moxley was the kind of guy where you needed a shotgun to put him down, but all it took was for, Kenny Omega to hit him in the head with a microphone and a one-winged angel, and that was it, to win the title, for him to actually get the title. It didn't take that much, but this is a guy who is, having barbed wire I quit matches. So it is what it is. I know that, Foley was similar. You had this guy who was basically thumbtacking it up, fire, going through stuff, but then he'd also lose to roll-ups and shit like that. I mean, that's why death matches don't make sense, because how you have to justify how a guy can get put through 100 tables, stacks of barbed wire, thumbtacks, explosions, how on that particular day he can survive all that crap, and then on a regular week he gets beat with like a regular submission hold or a regular finisher. You kind of have to justify that, but it's wrestling, so you don't really have to. So this match is going to be guaranteed to be 30 minutes. Probably going to end up being somewhere closer to 40, knowing Kenny Omega, because he likes to have a lot of the room to himself. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only 6 matches on this card. And, they tend to give a lot of time to some of these matches, so I'm going to be generous and say that they're not really shortchanging people, because some of these matches are probably going to be 20, 25 minutes. Like, I could see the Young Bucks match being pretty long. I'll probably almost see the ladder match being long too. But I think Kenny Omega is going to win. I think that's why Jon Moxley cut that somber-ass, sullen-ass promo about, if this is the last ride, I'm going out. And it's like, okay, sure. I do believe that probably the Good Brothers will get involved. And, will it be fun? Probably. I mean, it might be. It has the potential to be fun. It has the potential to be memorable. Let's put it like that. But I'm going to have fun with it one way or the other. Either I'm going to have fun laughing at it, which I'm guaranteed to laugh at it, because it's going to be Thunder Cage, WCW Thunder Cage, like Abdullah the Butcher sitting in that chair, that electric chair. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I mean by it's going to be fun. Because I can almost tell you that Kenny Omega is going to be overacting when he hits these explosions, and he's probably going to have the wild eyes, and he's going to oversell it, and it's going to be funny. And probably not in the way that they want it to be. And I've seen these matches, and Onita and none of these guys ever oversold the explosions and stuff that way. They always sold it like it hurt, and not like it was silly. But so they're not the first guys to do explosions in a match. Well, I shouldn't say that, because that's obviously not true. But do explosions on a match on a mainstream event, because they did it in WCW. They did Thunder Cage. I think they did 2 different types of exploding cage match or whatever, electrocution match and shit like that, man. This shit never works out. It never works out. But I've already said my piece on death matches. So I definitely think Kenny Omega is going to win. I don't see any reason to put the title on Jon Moxley. I think he's going to go away and be a dad. Need some time off. He's been one of the workhorses of AEW. And I'm guessing that they're probably going to bring in this new Hall of Fame level signing to take his place because he's going to be leaving. So now who is going to be the Hall of Fame level signing that's going to be introduced by Paul White? Something is telling, like, I've seen a lot of people start after Kurt Angle teased it. A lot of people started coming out and teasing. Bully Ray started teasing. Pat McAfee was teasing. It's hard to tell. I've seen a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't be looking at WWE. It could also be somebody from Japan. I think that if it's somebody from Japan, you're probably going to have a lot of pissed off Americans. You're probably, especially, well, look, their audience cares about that kind of stuff, right? So if it's, Tanahashi, which is probably not going to be, but let's say it's somebody like Tanahashi, that audience would be super excited. But there will be a lot of people who are going to be like, what? Who is that? Just like Ryu Mizunami, right? Look like, who is that? I don't know who that is. If it's going to be somebody from New Japan, you're probably going to get people pissed off because they're going to be like, fuck you. I don't know who this guy is. It has to be somebody from the United States because this is an American audience, right? And it's an American-centered audience. So it has to be somebody from the United States. Hall of Fame level means that they're probably older. Unless, you're going to curtain jerk us around and say, oh, well, I just said they were Hall of Fame worthy, not Hall of Fame level or Hall of Fame tier or whatever. But Tony Khan has said this is one of his favorite wrestlers all the time. I know he's an ECW mark. So that leads me to believe it's probably going to be Rob Van Dam. It could also be Sabu. No, it's not going to be Sabu. It's not going to be Sabu. But it could be Rob Van Dam. It could also be Kurt Angle. So this is just me being, I'm going to, list 4 people that it could possibly be. One, I've been saying is Thea Trinidad. I've been saying that because they were asked about her, right? If it's Thea Trinidad, I expect people to be mad, right? I expect people to be pissed off. No disrespect to her. But people are going to be like, what the fuck? No way. I still believe they're going to bring her in one way or the other. She might not be the Hall of Fame level person that they're talking about. But they're certainly going to bring her in. Probably to beef up their women's division. But the 4 options that I think is Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam, CM Punk, which will probably be the best option for them. And I've even seen people talk about Brock. Brock, because WWE hasn't been selling Brock Lesnar merchandise and all that type of stuff, it could be Brock, Now, if it's Brock, you're probably going to have the internet break in half. But Brock's not going to wrestle on TV. So that's the option that you're having, right? It would be foolish to have Brock Lesnar wrestle on TV. It would be foolish to have whoever this is wrestle on TV anyway, right? You should be selling their first match. So that's like you're selling Sting's first match. So whoever it is, it will likely just be on Dynamite. Now, do you get Brock? What do you do with him? Who do you book him against? Everybody that you got is small. Jericho doesn't like Brock, by the way. So you're going to create that problem. And then you have nobody for him to actually work against, except Jon Moxley. And then Jon Moxley likes to do these stupid death matches, and Brock is not going to want to do that. So that's why I don't believe it's going to be Brock. I think he's probably going to hear about this exploding barbed wire thing and probably be like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going anywhere near that. And I think WWE is just better for his, what he wants to do creatively. I don't think AEW is good for what he wants to do. He doesn't want to work 30-minute matches. AEW is going to require that. He's not going to want to do it. So I don't believe it's going to be Brock. Some people have said it's going to be John Cena. I don't believe it's going to be John Cena. John Cena, well, he was asked whether he's going to be at WrestleMania or not. And he says that his schedule is too full and he wasn't going to be able to make it to WrestleMania. So I don't believe, and I believe if he was going to show up at any wrestling event, it would be WrestleMania. I don't believe, now is John Cena, Hulk Hogan going to jump over and break the sound barrier? It's like, no. Cena seems to be a lot more loyal than Hogan was. I mean, Hogan's loyalty was tested when he did what he did to the AWA. So Vince probably wasn't all that surprised when Hogan jumped ship to WCW, because Hogan had jumped ship to the WWF and left AWA high and dry. But I think Cena seems to be a little bit more loyal. CM Punk is a good option. CM Punk is young enough to matter. You can sell his first match. He can talk and probably gain interest from his promos, just promos alone, at least for the first couple of times. But then you still have the question of who do you book him against. Now, CM Punk has said it's not him. Of course, it's wrestling. So just because the guy says it's not him doesn't mean it's not him. It could be Rob Van Dam, but if it's Rob Van Dam, I think some people are probably going to be disappointed because Rob Van Dam spent so much time in Impact and he did not look like Rob Van Dam. He did not come across as Rob Van Dam. So I don't know who it could possibly be that would fit all the criteria that I'm thinking of, and or the criteria that is going to be able to work the style that AEW wants, is at an appropriate age where they can work numerous times a year and can draw a lot of interest and intrigue just based off of their appearances on TV. Because even the Sting bump went away eventually. People stopped talking about Sting so much. People was talking about Sting a lot, then people just kind of stopped. It's like people was talking about Shaq, and then it kind of started to die down. So it has to be. Could it be Christian? I've heard some people say it could be Christian. It could be Christian. I know Christian is a Hall of Fame level talent as far as I'm concerned. Christian has left WWE before, and he went to TNA. Is it possible that Christian wasn't going to get what he wanted out of WWE? It's entirely possible. Can you sell Christian as far as a promo is concerned? Probably. Who do you book him with? You could book him with Jericho. You could book him with MJF. You can book. Christian is a pretty dynamic performer where he could do the comedy and he could do the drama, the seriousness. So Christian is a good option. I think that, well, you also have to consider that, and I think that this is only fair. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but I just want to get out a lot of my thoughts, because I think we also spend a lot of time, for starters, about being American-centric. I also think that we shouldn't be male-centric. It's entirely possible that it could be a woman, that he could be bringing in Lita or somebody on that level, where it could be, because I don't think Lita's in the WWE Hall of Fame. She can't wrestle. At least I don't believe so, because of her neck and all that type of stuff, so she can't work. But, could it be Lita? It could be. Could it be some other lady that could be, from that era? I don't know who that would be. Molly Holly, perhaps. Victoria, she was at the Royal Rumble. Could it be Melina? Could it be... But he kept saying it's one of his favorite wrestlers, so it's probably not going to be a woman. It's probably not going to be a woman. And so I don't know. I legit don't know. But my guesses would be CM Punk or Christian. That would be my... CM Punk, Christian, or Kurt Angle. Those would be my legitimate answers. And I think that Ethan Page is probably going to be the guy to get in this ladder match. So there we go. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Yeah.